Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing, wonderful, fantastic webinar. I just want you to know again, if you haven't already, go sign up over at passbuddy.com for all our practice questions, tips, tricks to help you pass your real estate exam. Let me point my mic a little closer to me. Bear with me 2 seconds. There we go. So, that being said, today we're going to be going over transfer of title. So, remember, if you're here with us live, go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Also, you can feel free to ask us any questions that you might have in regards to passing your real estate exam. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the first question. The first question says, a broker uses a title company that is very efficient and expedites closings with the least problems. The seller prefers to use a different company that is owned by a friend but may not possess sufficient experience. What is the broker's role in selecting the title company? What is their role? Is it the broker has the power to select the title company because he handles the sale? The broker must insist on the better company as part of his fiduciary duty. The seller can choose the title company, or the title company is chosen by the lender. What say you? There's a lot of good answers here, and there's a lot of things that I will tell you. If you've been in a real estate transaction, you might say, "Oh, I think this is the way that it's handled." But really, there's actually only one correct answer here. Okay. And what do you think? What do you think on that one if you're here with me live? And remember, follow us over on TikTok and also our Facebook community. We have our Pass Buddy group there, and we also post every single day new questions, tips, tricks to help you pass your real estate exam over on Pass Buddy's TikTok channel. So just find us there. So some people have said that the seller can choose the title company. Absolutely, 1000%. Now, here's the thing. Um, well, let's talk practical for a second, right? Let's talk practical for a second, okay? In this situation, okay, the seller can 100%, and the seller solely has the discretion as to who they use, whatever that case may be. But I think the absolute most correct answer, if this was present, was the seller can choose, but the agent should give their expert advice. They should be giving their opinion. So it's a situation where the agent has they do have an obligation to advise them to say, hey, here is my professional opinion based on X, Y, and Z. I think that's very, very important, and I think that's something that you should also take into consideration in practice. That is a good thing to do in practice, 100%. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving. Cliff, thank you for giving that answer in there on our YouTube channel. So let's take a look at this next one. This one says, which of the following encumbrances is not eliminated before property transfer? Is it property tax lien, a lease, a judgment lien, or a mortgage lien? What say you? What say you in the chat? Now, keep in mind, and I also want to ask this for those of you who are here live on any of our social media platforms. What is an encumbrance? What is an encumbrance? So when we're talking about that, what do we mean? Okay, what do we mean by an encumbrance? Because I think a lot of students don't know or can't identify what an encumbrance is because it's a general category. Okay, so let me say this. I'll ask another question too. Is every answer here an example of an encumbrance? Let me answer that first. Yes, all these are. An encumbrance is something that limits your ownership to the property. It affects title, right? So, in some manner, shape, or form, okay? In some manner, shape, or form, it has some impact on your ownership, and not necessarily in a positive way, right? It encumbers the property, okay? So, all of these limit full, free usage of the property, right? So, when we talk about your bundle of rights, you have the right to limit or burden your property in any legal way possible, right? By having a mortgage lien go on it, which is a voluntary lien, right? So the one that's not eliminated during property transfer is going to be the lease. Because when you sell or transfer the property, if there is a legal lease in place, basically staying intact. So, let me ask this question. What is a lease? And I'm going to give you a different explanation of it than you might have heard before, because a lot of people might have different versions of what a lease is. But what is a lease? Also known as a leasehold estate or a less than freehold estate. Now, I'm going to actually use the comparison, right? I'm going to use the comparison of a freehold estate in this. And I think this is really important to understand. Okay. So a freehold estate, okay, versus a less than freehold estate. Freehold estate, you have the full bundle of rights. You have the right to use, possess, transfer, exclude, and encumber. In having a leasehold estate, what happens is the freehold estate owner actually takes their right to possess and use the property and it is transferred to someone else. Okay? It is transferred to someone else. So that is what a leasehold is. It's the permanent right, excuse me, not permanent, listen to me. It is the right to possess and use the property for a certain period of time. Okay? So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving. We're actually going to jump to a question. I'm going to do a jumperoni, pepperoni. Okay? So, upon conducting the closing, the escrow agent files a Form 1099-S with the IRS. All the following information with the IRS, including all the following information except the amount financed, the seller's name and address, the closing date, or the gross proceeds. So, they're going to file this with the IRS. So, a 1099, basically saying, hey, look, here's the amount of money that was there. Now, this is an interesting one. So, what do you all think is the correct answer here? So, you can type that into the chat because this is really interesting as to what an escrow agent would include on that 1099-S. Are they going to include the amount financed? They are not. It doesn't matter. It's going to be all the gross proceeds, the seller's name and address, the closing date. All this information will be submitted to the IRS upon closing. But what won't be is the amount financed because that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what the amount finance is in regards to the IRS tax filings because there is a gross amount that is going to be paid. There is going to be a net amount. Okay. So all that's going to be included, but not what was filed. Now, the next one. Okay. Let's look at this next question. Which of the following deed is a voluntary alienation? Is it going to be a sheriff's deed, an executor's deed, a receiver's deed, or a general warranty deed? So they're asking right now which one of these is voluntary. Which one is voluntary? Meaning that you're not, it's not an involuntary transfer. It's not an involuntary transfer. So which one of these is voluntary? Okay. So anytime that you're going to be signing a deed, okay, that is going to be, for the most part, a voluntary transfer. So a general warranty deed, if you're signing that over to someone, right? If you're being grantor and they're going to be grantee and they're going to be transferring over that ownership, that is a voluntary transfer. Okay, so like a sale or a transfer is voluntary. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it grooving, shall we? And we'll do a handful more, and then we'll wrap up for today because I really want to go through some of these, get you introduced to the Pass Buddy system, and also too, what I want to tell you is this: if you haven't already, head on over to PassBuddy.com. That's where you can take questions like this, and you can help yourself pass your real estate exam in the year 2026. Now, this next one says a person named in the will to carry on the wishes of the deceased is known as an executor, administrator, the devisee, or the devisor. So a lot of people say that this is going to either be the executor or the administrator. So what do you think? What do you think between A or B? It's actually going to be the executor. So the person to carry on, right? They're executing the wishes of the will, excuse me, not listen to me saying the bill. The wishes of the will, right? is the executor. They're executing on the wishes that are going to be the wishes that are going to be conveyed in the will. Okay. So if you have a will and you say, "Hey, I want X, Y, and Z done with my properties," like, okay, like here's the thing. Let's get out of real estate for just a second. Okay. My mother has a lot of jewelry and she wants specific pieces to go to specific people. So what happens is the executor will ensure that those wishes are executed upon her passing. Okay. So that's what an executor would be. And I'm actually not the executor of her will. I'm not the one that's going to be handling that. That's going to be handled by someone else. Cousin's going to be doing it, I think. But I digress. I digress. Ooh, let's take a look at this one. So property was listed for 250,000. In the purchase agreement was accepted for 245,000. 1 week before closing, the purchase agreement was amended to 242,000, reflecting a defect that was discovered on the property. What price is shown on the closing disclosure? Is it the listing price, the price that was originally accepted, the most recent amended price, or the original accepted price and the amount of the discount agreed upon? Ooh, I wonder what you think. Tell me in the chat what you all think on this one. Because I see a couple people tossing up between C and D, right? Is it the most recent amended price or the original price with the discount? I think a lot of people are saying this one, and that is going to be it. They're not going to show the negotiation down to that new price for whatever the reason might be. Okay. They're going to just show and just reflect the sale price. What is this going to be? Now, with that being said, I want to remind everyone, like I said, go on over to passbuddy.com. Follow us over on TikTok because we have a bunch of videos going live today. Okay. Also, join our Facebook group. And for those of you who are here with us, again, remember, hit that like button, hit subscribe. And even if you're watching on recording, it really does help us out. Everyone, listen, have a great, fantastic, wonderful rest of your day. I will see you all real soon.